The gates close with a hollow, final thud, wood reinforced with iron, sealing you inside a world of stone, shadow, and silence. Outside, winter gathers its strength. Inside, life does not pause. It tightens, hardens, and prepares for a slow battle against the cold. At first glance, the castle seems like the safest place imaginable. Its walls are impossibly thick, designed to withstand armies, storms, and time itself. Towers rise like frozen sentinels, watching over a landscape that is already beginning to fade under a blanket of frost. But safety here is deceptive, because while the castle may keep enemies out, it also traps everything within. Cold, hunger, fear, and you. The first nights are the hardest. There is no gentle warmth waiting for you, no hidden comfort. Stone dominates everything. Floors, walls, ceilings. And stone does not forget the cold. It absorbs it, holds it, and gives it back without mercy. Even when fires are lit in the great hall, the warmth barely travels. You can stand just a few steps away from the flames and still feel the chill biting through your clothes, crawling across your skin. You quickly learn that heat is a luxury, not a guarantee. Fires require wood, and wood must be rationed. Servants move carefully, feeding flames just enough to keep them alive, but never enough to waste precious fuel. The Lord's chambers receive the most warmth, of course. Status determines comfort. The higher your rank, the closer you are to heat. Everyone else learns to endure. Sleep offers little relief. Beds are simple frames layered with straw mattresses, often damp and uneven. Blankets are heavy but insufficient. You lie down fully clothed, sometimes sharing space with others for warmth. Still, the cold finds its way in. It seeps through cracks, under doors, through the very walls themselves. You wake often, not from noise, but from the deep, aching discomfort of your own body trying to stay warm. And then there is the darkness. Winter days are short and sunlight is weak. By late afternoon, shadows stretch across the courtyard, and by evening, the castle is swallowed in blackness. Candles and torches provide light, but they are scarce. Every flame consumes resources, wax, oil, time. So light is rationed just like heat. Much of your existence unfolds in dim corridors and flickering rooms, where shapes blur and corners seem to move when you're not looking directly at them. Time begins to lose its meaning. Without consistent light, without warmth, the days blend together. Morning feels like night, night feels endless. Routine becomes the only anchor. Waking, working, eating, waiting. Always waiting. For spring, for warmth, for something to change. Food becomes the next challenge. Before winter arrived, the castle worked frantically to prepare. Supplies were gathered, stored, and sealed away. Grain, salted meat, dried fish, root vegetables. But no matter how careful the planning, winter always tests the limits. Food is not about enjoyment here, it is survival. Meals are simple and repetitive. Bread, often coarse and hard. Stews stretched thin to feed as many as possible. Meat is rare, reserved for those of higher status or for special occasions meant to maintain morale. For most, hunger becomes a constant companion. Not starvation, not yet, but a quiet, gnawing presence that never fully disappears. Water is no easier. Wells can freeze. Buckets must be hauled through icy winds. Sometimes water is melted from snow a slow and laborious process that yields little. Cleanliness suffers. Hands go unwashed. Bodies remain layered in dirt and sweat beneath heavy clothing. Disease does not need much to spread in such conditions, and once it begins, there is little to stop it. The castle, once a symbol of power and order, begins to feel like something else entirely. It becomes a closed system. Every cough echoes louder, every argument carries further. Tensions rise as space feels smaller, colder, more suffocating. People who once had clear roles and routines now find themselves trapped in monotony. Guards pace the walls, not out of immediate necessity, but because they must. Servants repeat tasks that never seem to end. Nobles grow restless, their authority offering little comfort against the unchanging cold. And then there is the wind. It howls across the battlements, slipping through arrow slits and cracks in the stone. It finds every weakness in the structure and exploits it. At night, it becomes a voice, low, constant, impossible to ignore. You begin to hear things within it, whispers, cries, distant sounds that may or may not be real. Isolation does something to the mind. You are not alone, yet you feel alone. Surrounded by people, yet disconnected. Conversations grow shorter, more functional. Laughter becomes rare, almost suspicious. There is no space for lightness here, only endurance. Days pass, then weeks. The cold does not lessen, it deepens. Ice forms in places you wouldn't expect, along the edges of walls, inside unused rooms, sometimes even within the very spaces you occupy. Your breath is always visible, a constant reminder that warmth is fragile, temporary. You learn to move less, to conserve energy. Every action has a cost. Even the castle itself begins to suffer. Wood cracks, metal stiffens, stone shifts almost imperceptibly under the pressure of freezing and thawing. Maintenance becomes a constant struggle. A broken door, a damaged roof, a frozen hinge. Small problems that in winter can become serious threats. And always there is the possibility of something worse, a siege. If enemies arrive during winter, the situation changes instantly. The castle, already strained, becomes a prison. Supplies that were meant to last the season must now stretch even further. Every ration is cut, every resource is guarded. The gates that once symbolized protection now represent confinement. Fear replaces routine. Guards no longer pace out of habit, they watch for movement, for signs of attack. Nights become tense, filled with the possibility of sudden violence. Sleep is lighter, shorter. Every sound matters. Inside, the atmosphere shifts. Trust becomes fragile. Desperation grows. Because in a siege, winter is no longer just an enemy. It is an ally to those outside the walls. Starvation becomes real. Rations shrink to the bare minimum. Meals that were once unsatisfying become almost non-existent. People begin to weaken. Work slows. Illness spreads more easily. The strong endure longer, but even they begin to show signs of decline. Morale collapses in stages. At first there is determination, a belief that the castle will hold, that relief will come. Then comes doubt. Conversations grow tense, rumours spread. Some begin to question decisions, leadership, fate itself. Finally, there is resignation, a quiet understanding that survival is no longer guaranteed. In such moments, the true nature of the castle is revealed. It is not just a structure, it is a test of endurance, of patience, of the human ability to withstand not just physical hardship, but mental and emotional strain. You begin to change. The person who entered the castle at the start of winter is not the same as the one who remains weeks later. Comfort becomes irrelevant. Survival becomes everything. Small things, an extra piece of bread, a moment near the fire, a brief glimpse of sunlight, take on immense value. You learn to adapt. You move differently, speak differently, think differently. You conserve energy without realizing it. You accept discomfort as normal. You stop expecting relief. And yet, even in the harshest conditions, life continues. There are moments, brief, fragile, where something breaks through the cold. A shared meal that feels warmer than usual. A story told by firelight. A rare laugh that echoes through the hall and reminds everyone that they are still human. These moments matter more than anything, because they are what keep you going. Winter does not last forever, but inside the castle, it feels like it might. The days remain short, the nights remain long, the cold remains constant. And yet, slowly, almost imperceptibly, something begins to change. The air softens, the wind loses its edge. Ice begins to melt in small, quiet ways. Water flows more easily. Light lingers just a little longer each day. Spring approaches. For those who survive, it is not just a change of season, it is a release. A return to movement, to possibility, to life beyond endurance. The gates open again. The world outside is different, and so are you. You step out of the castle, not as the person who entered, but as someone who has endured something few could imagine. The cold, the hunger, the darkness, they leave their mark. So, would you last a winter in a medieval castle? Physically, perhaps. With enough preparation, enough strength, enough luck, survival is possible. But the real question is not just about survival, it is about endurance. About whether you could live day after day in a world where comfort does not exist, where warmth is never enough, where hunger never fully fades, where darkness feels endless and time loses meaning. Because a winter in a medieval castle is not just a season, it is a trial of the human spirit, and not everyone passes.